ladies, gentlemen, and to all my Reese's pieces in between, I thank you so much for tuning in and for listening. This is your boy, this is your dude, this is your SPiC, this is Papo again with another rendition of the Papo Incognito podcast. And what do we call that around here? The SPiC podcast. We'll be back with another episode of the Arizona Soul Podcast here shortly. As always, you can email arizonasoulpodcast@gmail.com. You can leave a voicemail, comment, concern, or just unnecessary blurt of verbiage at 480-588-4688. Again, you can leave a voicemail at area code 480-588-4688. As always, visit the website at arizonasoulpodcast.com. We got a WordPress as well. I think you could probably just search at Arizona Soul Podcast, and wherever else you can enter that stuff in. For whatever reason, on most social medias, it's at Arizona Pod, because I guess you can't really spell it all out. So again, Arizona Soul Pod, Pod. And make sure that you check in there for all the accoutrement, all the fixings, definitely dedications, and things that I usually may not cover in the solo rendition of. But, the show must go on. And it's been a crazy week. I think as most weeks, for most of us, or I hope for all of us, we're going to have a better year. And we're very, hopefully, boisterous and excited and certainly with full-on intent and spirit and charge of this new year. But at the same time, because it is simply just a calendar date, simply just a way that we measure, our rotation around the sun, it may not necessarily mean too much to other folks. We're still bagging or cringing or just dragging all around weight or luggage or baggage, for lack of a better word, from yesteryear, the literal last year that was just so many weeks away. And I hope that we could churn through that. I know sometimes I feel like a old ass maiden back in the day trying to churn butter out just to say I hope for something good. Like, oh, I hope we gonna get it. Or I can't wait till I can quit because my motherfucking arms is tired. And for all that, in which we're all going through something, I hope that you make it on a little something better. I feel, especially with craziness and things that cloud our days and whatever BS social media stuff that's giving us a headache, and I can feel at the forefront just trying to think about it. Let's not think about it. We need a break for the break. And speaking though, because I'm gonna get right into it, I'm gonna give you more of a clear cut of the news this past week. Someone who actually got a break, and one like no other, just in the essence because I had already forgotten about it. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to popular belief, and those that listen or feel like they know me, thinking, oh yeah, well of course he cared about white women. We care nothing about the DACA melanins, but we give a fuck about the white folk. And look, that's a hard burden to carry for all those included. But I don't want to shout out something y'all might have seen in the news, maybe might have not, because I remember hearing about it back in October of 2018. It, for whatever being a big deal because there was such a gruesome murder involved into this, to again come out a little bit brighter, at least for this particular person. Going back to Miss Jamie Cross, she was the 13-year-old Wisconsin girl who was reported missing after her parents were found shot to death, again back this past October. And apparently she had told a woman who had initially found her that she was able to escape her alleged captor after she left his home. And apparently her name is Jan Nutter. She had told, shouts out to ABC News, that she was walking her dog alongside of a ice-glazed and snowy road near a cabin. I think it's either in Wisconsin or near Milwaukee. I don't know how close them shits in across. But this person though, I guess saw just someone disheveled, cold and thin, approaching her, and pretty much she just put it all out there saying, I need help. Said, I'm Jamie Cross, which again, obviously you would think that, they're looking for you, they're searching for you, maybe their captor made some kind of reference that, oh shit, that there's a manhunt, and I'm pretty sure he was probably out there helping hunt too, because, they say statistically they they hide in plain sight, right? So who knows? Because we don't have too many details on this cat, but who knows how much she was aware of. But I thought it was kind of interesting. Like, okay, she came in, she came out, like, all right, this is me. I'm this person. You heard of me. Help me out. And not to say that this was staged or anything like that, because you could tell people were saying, witnesses were saying that she's definitely seemed a whole lot thinner than her pictures. And mind you, this is a 13-year-old girl who I'm pretty sure is probably the best health of her life, and to be even skinnier. I mean, you can tell from the pictures, for that to be skinnier, like, ooh. And it tripped me out that her name was even publicized because, you know, her being under age 18. But again, we're looking for her, so it's an easier thing to match. Although there hasn't been any sort of public statement given by her, they found the dude who done did it. And it trips me out because if you look at this man, like, there's, you know what I'm saying, certainly something off about him, something off-putting just by looking at him. And I'm not trying to pass any judgment, but at the same time, this cat killed her parents and abducted her. And apparently, from what they're saying, or at least from what we're able to piece together, since, of course, the investigation's ongoing, even though they were able to capture his ass soon after she got out. So I guess that's part of the beauty in there being so much groundwork built up to this. As soon as they got their chance, like, fuck it, let's go do it. Get on it. Let's go find him. Let's stop him. And they found him. And again, what trips me out, and again, I hate to just judge books by covers because there isn't too much information on this guy. But when you look at him, he's young. He's 21 years old. He apparently had worked literally for, what was it? Just a few days, if barely a day, because, you know what I'm saying, most psychopaths can't hold on jobs. I don't know if that's my problem or not. But he worked at a Jenny-O turkey store in the Wisconsin area with the parents. So I'm not too sure if she was there on Take Your Daughter to Work Day. He got captivated. Mind you, this is 3 years ago, so she would have been 10. And, you know what I'm saying, found his mark or took his chance. They're saying that they're not able to tie in too much information to this guy, but that, you know, they're able to at least to nix that down. And I thought that's pretty crazy for them to make that sort of search, because you figure, all right, you're going to find out someone who knows someone. He's going to be connected to a family friend or something, right? You would figure that's statistically, you know what I'm saying, what happens when these people get snatched. But that wasn't it. No, they worked very briefly the company 3 years ago. Now, I'm not saying that's suspicious. I'm not saying that seems a little bit odd that, you know, to pin it down to that. Like they needed someone to pin it down to, because obviously she escaped. But the part two that trips me out is that he's 21 years old. I would imagine that he was living with family already, and then apparently where he was stashing her was somewhere different. So it's kind of like, and I'm not trying to make any sort of cross comparisons to the Colorado Batman shooting character who his parents were scientists, and, you know, he definitely didn't even have the kind of income to pay for the half the ammunition that was stored in his room. That was definitely a fixed inside job. I'm not thinking so much, but at the same time, some of these clues just, they don't fit. Or I mean, they fit because we want them to fit, but 9 times out of 10, and I make this joke a lot, but, you know what I'm saying, woman going through the phone looking to be to be upset about something, she's gonna find something to be upset about. In the same case, we're trying to piece this damn puzzle. And mind you look at him though, he fits the bill, and obviously we'll hear more information from her. But no offense to her, she kind of seemed like a loopy one anyway. Like if you look at her pictures, and again, no offense to her, because she just could be, you know, have some kind of, and again, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but it's just me, so of course all you're hearing is what I'm projecting. But she looks a little off too. I'm just saying. So in that same essence, like, all the more of a nasty, dirty fucking predator was this bastard to, you know, say, pluck on something that, you know, maybe didn't have the most. I mean, besides being underage, besides not being, you know, of legal consent, and then to boot on top of that, sprinkle some crack on it. You know what I'm saying? She's, you know, maybe mentally disabled in some way. That's more of a fuck shit stack if I've ever heard of one. And I won't get too much into those details, because most certainly links will be in the bio somewhere, or description of this note, however it is that you're consuming and ingesting me. I thank you, and I love you very much for it. But yeah, I was so glad to see that this was something that was happening. And of course it escalated, and of course It goes around getting all around coverage because it can be slow days, and not even that. I mean, this is one state, and say I don't even live in, but again, it had gotten national attention and definitely was well within the radar because you hear of this stuff. I mean, you don't hear every missing case. You know what I'm saying? And we can get to talking more about the white privilege of things and why we hear about certain things after others. A lot of the times they kind of just end up with the result of death. There's not that many times where you don't see the clear-cut evidence of, all right, yeah, that was them. You know what I'm saying? We got the dental records. Oh, yeah, that was them. Unfortunately, that happens way too often. But as far as the ability to, find them, we want to be able to celebrate whatever sort of victory. So before all my people of melanin, all the people of color from other parts and tropical regions, I'm with you with us not being represented so much, but let's at least savor a tiny victory for humankind until we can hopefully, get appreciation for everyone and not just, the small little pickings. But again, this is about being positive, right? Because I lean so hard in every direction. You wouldn't know where the fuck I stand on because I lean so heavy. I'm a heavy build. Seriously, in the same thought of heaviness and that in which a burden wraps around us, and we can only literally play the cards that were dealt. And unfortunately for this person, the card that she dealt and that she played, end up shitting on her somewhat, so to speak. If you don't know, and I'm gonna try not to butcher the name. I don't know if it's cyntoia or cyntoia. I want to say Cynthia Brown, but I think it's No, look at that. I'm even spelling it out loud incorrectly. It's spelled Cyntoia. I want to just say Cynthia, but I don't know. Cyntoia Brown. Y'all can do your Googles or take a look at the links below. But she was granted clemency after serving 15 years in prison for killing a man who bought her for some sex. Now I'm going to go into more serious note into how she got in there for reals. Miss, again, Cyntoia Denise Brown. Shouts out to CNN for, making it so easy yet still so difficult. She was a woman who was serving a life sentence for killing a man who had, again, bought her for sex, but when she was only 16 years old. Now, again, she was finally granted clemency from the Tennessee governor's office, and it trips me out as to that something clicked. And I'll get into how it clicked and, of course, the fears from that in itself. But again, Miss Brown, who is now 30, will be released on parole supervision on August 7th after serving 15 years in prison. 15 years. That was half of her life because she was so fucking young when she was, used for what she was used for. And I'm going to read you a quotation that says, "This decision comes after a careful consideration of what is a tragic and complex case." No shit. Miss Cyntoia Brown committed, by her own admission, a horrific crime at the age of 16, yet imposing a life sentence on a juvenile that would require her to serve at least 51 years before even being eligible for parole. Consideration is also a little bit too harsh, or they quote as saying considered. Anyways, especially in the light of the extraordinary steps that Ms. Brown has taken to rebuild her life, transformation should be accompanied by hope. And I feel like that's certainly something that we need in so many different aspects that keeps us churning, as the butter I mentioned earlier. But Ms. Brown's case drew the attention of several high-profile advocates, and this is kind of what got her into the spectrum of things, including U.S. Congresswomen, several Tennessee lawmakers, and a number of A-list celebrities. This is my dilemma. Comedian Amy Schumer, reality star Kim Kardashian West, an actress and fellow abuse-a-thon, for Lord forgive, Miss Ashley Judd, who were among those who called for Brown's clemency. And y'all can see the tweets. Y'all might have seen the shit ongoing. But this was a year-old case that, again, because of these celebrities, were able to get more interest. Now, back in 2004, Brown had killed Johnny Mitchell Allen, who Brown said had solicited her for sex and taken her back to his house. Now, prosecutors at the time said that Brown shot Allen in the head while he was sleeping, stole money and guns, took his truck, and fled the scene. Now, they argued that the killing was motivated by defense, but at the same time, the motherfucker, that's robbery. I would say it's highway robbery, but it happened in the home while the motherfucker was sleeping. Anyways, Brown said that she was too scared for her life by Allen's behavior and took the money for fear of returning empty-handed to her pimp named Cutthroat. This is a true story, y'all. Juvenile court found Brown's contempt to be tried as an adult. She was convicted of murder and robbery and sentenced to life in prison. Because you would look at her, no offense, because, you know what I'm saying, she definitely has a little thoughted look to her. She looked like a little badass baby kid. Now, and again, I'm getting lost. Let me go back to the article. It says, though more than a decade had passed since her trial, the harsh punishment for a teenage victim of sex trafficking sparked outrage, of course, around this here United States, particularly after these celebrities, you know what I'm saying, kind of threw in their 2 cents. And most notably was when Rihanna and Kim K. Dub came to her defense on social media back in 2016. And this kind of goes back to how she had, and I don't know if it was really her auntie, someone who had gotten hit for some kind of drug possession charge. I know that started a little bit of a ruckus, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes me wonder, like, is that what we need to do? Like, we really need to bring it to celebrities for them to be, like, if they weren't our idols already, you know what I'm saying? If they weren't our idols already, here we go, you know what I'm saying, bringing them our, you know what I'm saying, that our little, you don't bowl, hope, asking for seconds of some soup, you know what I'm saying, well, please, or however the hell, Oliver, you know, and God bless them. Again, don't let it get misconstrued that I'm not, you know what I'm saying, I don't feel like they did a blessed thing, you know what I'm saying, by doing as little as just making a reference and then letting the other social media activists, you know what I'm saying, come about it to where, again, you can create that pressure, you know what I'm saying, squeeze that coal and get that motherfucking diamond out that bitch. Like, it's understood. And again, just the fact that she was able to make it out after being abandoned, after being abused, after being exploited, and then her serving this time, and you know, you had to go through a whole lot, not only to make it to this point, but then and you could say turning in a new leaf, but at the same time, you're in a place full of the worst, right? You would figure. I mean, the worst are the ones with enough money and power to not be, you know what I'm saying, captured, or at least for too long, at least, you know what I'm saying, that kind of system that I'm sure she was in. She was around some other bad motherfuckers, and I'm sure that she did some networking. I'm sure she learned a whole lot more than what she learned and knew before, which can either make a monster or make someone with with a little bit more compassion, with some sort of understanding, someone with definitely a strong will that isn't afraid to, continue or to hopefully want to give up. Because we look at the supposed story, and I'm so sorry for forgetting, here was a Texas woman, or a woman that was visiting Texas, I think visiting family, or maybe she was dodging family, I forget, or she was about to see family the next day. It was something of the nature where she got arrested on some dumb DUI. She kind of, you know what I'm saying, razzle dazzled and upset some people, and apparently she hung herself the next day while still, not even making it to prison, just to jail. It's so, and again, that might have been BS, but that does happen when you figure you've lost all that you've had and all the image that you portrayed. We've seen this with celebrities, they not being able to hold up to certain status and poise of, where they once were. Piece of shit garbage is like Pauly Shore, you know what I'm saying, that are butthurt because, they wasted their 15 minutes. And situations that matter, or it could be the end. You know what I'm saying? Especially someone for her being so young, not knowing any better. Like, you figure not even having too much hope because of this, fuck situation she was in to begin with. To then, again, finally make it out and then, you know what I'm saying, to get the book thrown at her. I wonder what happens to said Cutthroat, the pimp that, that wasn't the loose. Maybe, Lord forbid that he tried to make, his rounds back. I'm hoping he would have been snugged or stopped. And you figure motherfuckers in the game like that don't last for too long, right? Because you usually don't, get to see old pimps that often. You see young dumb ones that, they didn't have the OGs to kind of lead them away. My only worry and concern, because again, she's Miss Brown over here. She got real lucky. As fucked of a hand that she was dealt, God was with her at least to, to see her throughout that bitch. For the celebrities, and again, celebrities can do a lot of good. You know what I'm saying? If they're more involved, but at the same time, they're gonna only see more likely themselves. They probably Google themselves, checking the likes, responding to comments and whatnots, and correspondences as it go. How can we trust that they can see proper things? You know what I'm saying? Or do we have to wait and rely on the sheer fact of something going viral, getting their attention, which again, all the more gives reason and cause for alarm that it's the viral things that make it through. So when we see people that are going to do some asinine shit to see their way through and, make it and get whatever they're trying to get out of it, we're going to see more drasticness once people start putting together the simple equation of, to get their attention, I got to get their attention. And again, hopefully that can shake and motivate for then there to be more of those that are compelled to maybe play said third party to try to connect them dots. Hello, I'm the media, you know what I'm saying? So in that same essence, it also takes the people listening to do something so minor, as like when you hear those thirsty motherfuckers say like, comment, and subscribe. It you know what I'm saying? It takes y'all to do that, to, you know what I'm saying, help dots get connected. We're all connected. We're all people. You know what I'm saying? Even amongst those that maybe may not, and you know what I'm saying, they're a shell of what their representation is. Hey, I won't call y'all out. Y'all will come out when you're ready. But in that same regard, we got to be able to really stick with each other and hope that if there is avenues or wells to run, before we run that shit dry, and let's, try to save as much with what we got at the time. So before I wanted to get into my next or my last major U.S. topic this past week, I did want to throw out some of the shenanigans that gets brought to you by Mr. Donald Trump, usually every day, most certainly many times throughout the week. A Russian lawyer that was said to be in the room with Eric Trump and other officials trying to make their money moves is actually being charged in connection to a money laundering case. And again, this is a case very in with them Ruskies, which again should just show you where this dude was dipping his dick or his pen, right? And getting that ink, you know what I'm saying, from different wells. This dude's selling us. This guy is really pimping. And I don't mean that in no nice way. He was also in, I guess the most other big news besides him spewing up bullshit on some other stuff. They did a test of the steel prototype for the border wall that they want to, get up so damn badly that they have this government shut down for. And it showed that this shit can get sawed through. So with that being said, for this billions of dollars that he's demanding and keeping, the quote-unquote government shut down, and this is federal government, not for states, because more likely if y'all haven't been affected, you're not that deep in the middleman game. It's just business as usual. But some people are actually getting shit on it. But anyways, this thing that's causing this ruckus can be cut through with a fucking saw. Like, yo, Mr. Trump, with all due respect, I say this as a fan and a godly fear of the white race, superior race, as you would say, and this just, y'all trying to keep Mexicans out, right? These Mexicans, they're taking hardworking people's jobs who use construction tools that has said equipment that can cut through this thing, right? These are those people who want to keep away. Well, aren't you wasting money by doing that? Of course you are. And again, of course you're doing this for political reasons. Because you figure you lied and BS about all the other promises. You got to make do on one. And you know what? This one is also able to allow you to kill more birds as well. So why wouldn't you distract us with malarkey? And, sure, it's kind of like, you would almost say like, oh, well, he was very, he was very great or smart for, only shitting on very few. You know what I'm saying? Because shitting on very few, there's not that big of a ruckus. Because again, a lot of our states are, guess what, run by the state itself. There's very little. Even though the government can control a whole lot and can, munch off of a whole lot, because they munch from so much, they can let, they can go with fasting a couple days, if that makes any sense. They're so fat, they get to live off so much of the fat of the land, all our land that we contributed to, and that those before us did, and they get to sit. You know what I'm saying? Like they straight. You know what I'm saying? Their checks are definitely gonna clear. For them. There's other people that kind of get shit on. But again, I just thought it was so funny that all this investment that we're putting into can be saw through. You know what I'm saying? Not even considering that we're good at fucking digging. And that we'll leave you a little bitch ass fence there for those that ain't part of the rural inner circus. We'll leave those motherfuckers to saw your shit up, and you have to dip into another little well of budget in order to get to replace and to fix and do proper maintenance and whatnot. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like there's just so many other avenues. And then you talk about us bringing the worst of the worst. Well, motherfucker, those that are worse are those that are better, right? And we would consider better being more educated or with more resource. Well, guess what? They probably got planes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so pointless. But again, that's the whole point. Is it so pointless? We gotta distract ourselves. Maybe shut off even more because you figure, oh, well, this is so stupid. I don't want to listen to anything that has to do with whatever's going on. And then you seclude yourself, and then you ain't got the information. So then you dumb. You know what I'm saying? Either which way, it's the whole big mixture of dumbness. And I'm so sorry. I get so passionate over things like that, or maybe just annoying. I don't know how y'all take it. I hope y'all take it well. I hope you take me like you would your coffee, and whether you enjoy the sugariness or the bitterness of it all, may you enjoy it. I guess one thing too that we've been enjoying is ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you know what I'm saying, being human. I know I'm victim to, you know what I'm saying, temptations of the flesh. And I know most of us are. It's usually the hardest thing for us to try to battle. So with our flesh desires and our neediness to fuck, a lot of that, or at least what it was back in the day, was, you know what I'm saying, for procreation, right? You figure, when you're pro-life, you want to continue life, and all the other gushiness that comes in between it. Well, CNN brought up a very interesting tidbit from a study. And they're saying that the total fertility rate for the United States in 2017 continued to dip below what's needed for population to replace itself. Now, that was weird, and I didn't know about studies like this from the National Center for Health Statistics, but this report revealed that some major state-by-state differences in fertility rates. So again, ranging back, because we can only have so much data, and of course it's ongoing, but we can see the trends and how that shit follows. And back in 2017, among the 50 states, including the District of Columbia, total fertility rates, and I'm not sure what the fuck that means, because I know they get to do what the fuck they want, so I don't know if that means they don't count. I don't know if they're being heathenish. I don't know, but they're saying from rates ranged from a rate of 2,227.5 births per 1,000 women, and they're down there yonder, South Dakota, to 1,421 per 1,000 women in D.C., a difference of 57%, according to the report. Now, because there's going to be some numbers that might sound confusing, especially the way that I read them out to you, but overall, the total fertility rate for U.S. in 2017 was, again, at 1,765.5 per 1,000 women, which was, again, 16% below what was considered the level needed for a population to replace itself. Now, think about it. People die every day, whether it be cancers, whether it be violence, whether it be some kind of shenanigans. There's a rate in which how we fill in these seats and, what it takes, I guess, to keep shit running. Now, you might figure when you see certain businesses, oh, well, you really ain't necessary, or how we got all these lines at the Walmart and only 2 motherfuckers are actually working it. So, again, there's a ratio in which is needed and which is used. And, we underweight. That's crazy. And I'm wondering if that means we're fucking less, which is what it sounds like as far as fertility goes, or we're dying a whole lot faster. So again, even though certain things can the birth rate can go down, but is that because people are being safer now? Is that because people are planning it out more? I mean, you hear more and more about people getting their careers and then having kids later on in life, which again, then unfortunately gives you more reason or concern for like autism or mentally. Or behavior, I should say mental, but behavioral health esque sort of problems. Those are, then kind of ramped up a little bit. Now, and we all have family members or, know someone for the most part, because again, how much more of the norm, it is nowadays. So I just, wanted to bring that up for a topic of conversation as to how you saw that, and if that should matter, or if you feel like there might be a little bit too much of us, anyways. But at the same time, word, and in the same thought, it. If it is a matter of those battle of the strongest, then you figure it only get better with time. But at the same time, look at how we're evolving and the steps back that we take. The reason why them aliens might not even reveal themselves to those that aren't already on the crazy spectrum, because who gives a shit? Like, I don't know. Food for thought. Yeah, but let's get on to the realm of business, because I saw this is both in the government's BS handlings. It's all business, some kind of BBBs. Shouts out to Better Business Bureau giving the motherfuckers at Fortnite and F in customer service. Sears, a 145-year-old company, is going bankrupt. And you might figure, oh well, shit, who the hell shops at Sears? Yeah, that's pretty much the sum up of things, with Amazon being the king daddy bullshit that it is, and then of course Walmart being just as big of a competitor. Yeah, big businesses like this, and we've seen this with the Kmart stores, which again they own. We've seen that most recently with the Toys R Us. These things are going down. And you see other companies swooping up, buying and liquidating and becoming a part of and using, whatever bit of IP that you can from a company like this. And mind you, it's a retail outlet, so it's like, oh, well, it's more about where you can get it, how cheap you can get it, how much you can sell it for. It's a little bit of a world shaker as far as the nostalgia that I get from that store, even though I don't really rock with it. I haven't shopped or bought anything from a Sears in such a long time. And its biggest mainstay was the fact that that's where you got your appliances from, usually, more than likely, whether it be a fridge or a washer dryer. But there's so many other outlets. Shout out to a local chain down here called Spencer's. And not so much shout out because I still feel like I overpaid, but I still got it way cheaper than what I would have got elsewhere. You have all these other businesses that again can get you these things, and you know what I'm saying. Hopefully, turn way more profit. But at the same time, companies. I'm getting lost in my thoughts because what I'm trying to spew out is companies like Amazon. They have such a cobra clutch, which you figure how were they able to take so much dominance is because they set up deals to where they would lose for the longest in the beginning so that they can gain your love, praise, adoration, and loyalty so it can make money. It's like you got to spend money to make money, and they did that the right way. And I heard so many stories, and there's actually interesting Patriot Act episode on Netflix where they kind of gets into a little bit of tidbits on that and how they not only lose out, but they can, because of all the information that they get, they're able to see who you're getting it from, how much they getting it for, buy a whole F ton so that they can lose out on it, but get your business, run these motherfuckers out so that again, they have to either give in, sell out, or, just fall out, ass out, all to begin with. And that's what makes Amazon CEO, Mr. Jeff Bezos, such a hot commodity, and why he's worth $135.5 billion. You know what I'm saying? As of right now, January 2019, and at the same point, him and his wife had announced they're divorced or going to be divorced or divorcing, which I feel was rushed simply because there's with every lady there's a tramp, and there was definitely a mistress who she's some ex weather girl. You know what I'm saying? Not bad looking for being as old as this bitch is, but definitely a thought. Definitely, supposedly one who apparently was in leak some dick pics. So I feel like this announcement was to kind of alert you guys now before you catch wind of the other bad shit. That hey, we separating. Don't take this as me being bad. We all agreed. And also, he ain't got no prenup. So I don't know how that works. This is going to be very interesting, especially with the fact that we live in a day and age where we know about everybody's business. I'm going to be interested in seeing how much this bitch. And I thought she was cute. Miss Mackenzie Bezos. Like, I thought she was adorable. Like, I wouldn't see why he's trading up, you know what I'm saying, for some bitch that maybe might hop on the dick a little quicker. Or, you know what I'm saying, be down for, a fuck in the car. Like, you know what I'm saying? Real nasty shit. Like, I don't know if that's what he's trading in for. I don't know what kind of problems. We all got problems in the background that no one wants to reveal to the world. I get you. I see you. But yeah, that's going to be a heavy, heavy hit. And very interesting to see because, I don't know, just this guy, he ain't dumb. You know what I'm saying? Even, you might look at him back in a 90s Taco Bell commercial, and please believe there's a commercial with him back in the day. I think this guy, he's just funny to look at. No, he masterminded and cut these deals, conceived whatever he did and made himself the richest man in the world. So this divorce getting in there, like, I don't know if that's going to stop him or just perpetuate him even more because now he has nothing to slow him down. He took the worst hit he could take. Now it's all, unless something goes belly under. But at the same time, only scandal and other sort of shenanigans can possibly weigh that down when you make so much and you up so high and you're such a hot commodity. So I'm very interested to see. It's almost very so gossipy. And I know the Bible tells us not to be so gossipy, but I can't help it. I know every single time I get a coworker, you know what I'm saying, they come to me, it's like happy to share some tea. And I'm like, why you get me involved in this? I don't know if that's some kind of sign. I'm not too sure if maybe I've said whispers and they just got that whiff of, oh, he likes to spill tea. Ooh, so they just throw it at me. You know what I'm saying? Before, back in my Greek days, they would throw pussy at me. Now they just throw the tea. It burns. I'm interested. What happened? Anyways, there was another billionaire. He was a Norwegian billionaire. I think he made his monies off of like realty and stuff. I won't get too deep into this, but quick little headliner that was hilarious. His wife had gotten abducted, I think, sometime late October 2018. We're now January 2019, and they had trying to get 10 mil off his ass. He refuses to pay. Now, mind you, there can be a lot of principle in that. There can be, the fact that, how can you guarantee their safety? At the same time, you might not have that in liquid form. It might be caught up in investments. At the same time, you might just not give a fuck, and this was your way out. Either which way, that's just so cold-blooded. I'm not too sure if because life's too short not to be Norwegian because of how tall their asses is, or maybe I butchered that. I got that from a movie called All American Orgy. That's it. This episode is brought to you in part by marijuana. If I fuck up, it's because I'm fucked up. Marijuana. Yo, I want to get into entertainment news simply because with things being as terrible as they is, you figure that's why we turn to entertainment, right? It happens in whatever which way form we ingest it. Movie, music, the YouTubes, which usually has a bit of both. You know what I'm saying? Other social medias. We get lost really deeply in the songs to where we drizz down, but I'm not going to try to make that sound prison. Rkelly. Yo, I know he's been in the news. I know it's been a thing to where you probably heard enough of it. I still have yet to see the Lifetime short docu-series, but that's because I don't have access to it, and that's not going to be the reason why you're going to hear the side that you're about to hear, which I wish Arizona Verse was here so I wouldn't sound so dastardly. But I'm a fan of R&B. So it kills me to know, and I never consider him the king of R&B. He's just, you know, saying he's all up in his coonery, but you know you can't help but stunt when you feel like you're untouchable, which maybe is what led him to do what he's done. And again, there being a higher power, unfortunately, that is probably on the same tip, which again allows him to get away with what he's gone away with. R. Kelly had responded to the docuseries saying that this was just a vendetta towards them, not ever really letting it be known that it's for him to take accountability of his actions as well. You know what I'm saying? It's justice for those that have been tormented and that have been abused in all this. Like, we've heard other things, even having little sex cults, right? Like, this is what that sex cult is. And it's just a bunch of women being submissive to his power. And it's easily believable in the essence of the kind of times that we live in, as well as the kind of impact that he's had. And what I laugh so much, because he supposedly had anxiety. There's some kind of TMZ report of him being rushed to the hospital or something like that about this anxiety. Yeah, no shit. People are seeing truths. Or let's say, and again, this is just playing devil's advocate. Let's say he's somehow innocent somewhat in this and doesn't understand the error of his ways. He tries to plead mental disability or something. Like, it has to be nerve-wracking if the situation weren't true. Both in it being more than likely true, and the essence of him, you know what I'm saying, being worried of, you know, being castrated in essence over something that maybe is being misconstrued. And again, I'm not making excuses for the motherfucker, because, you know, in due time, right, for everyone, I laugh that an old landlord of his actually jumped out as he was in the news and making the headlines that he was doing, trying to come out and say that he owes him $80,000 from a suit of back rent for a studio that was rented out that had up to 6 different women living there. Holy shit. Now, mind you, it sounds a little perfectly planned, you know what I'm saying, that this was a studio, again, housing 6 bitches, so he can, you know, collude, or not collude, but he can, you know, jump in on and be a key witness, you know, if the shit were ever go to trial, as well as, you know, saying, get your monies. Or again, maybe this is just perfect timing, you know, in the essence to where, bam, nigga, gotcha, as you can't really escape this now. You know, it's known that, you know, you've had women hostage, whether or not they were hostage, you definitely had them cooped up into a building, and bam, there you go. And I'm surprised it's just 80,000, but at the same time, that's kind of a lot, because that could buy you a brand new home. Actually, not really. I don't know. It might be justified either which way. It's funny. That's happened, and who knows how much he's done record sales wise. I didn't realize, and again, I'm going to add into this next tidbit, is that on the plus side for him, his sales and streams have gotten up this time. Now, a lot of people have spoken out on this. I know Ms. Jada Pinkett Smith was famously in the media streams voicing herself about how ridiculous it is that, you know, he can be this, you know, soon to be proven monster of a man, and yet people, it's not like people are praising him. I have yet to hear anyone praise or defend him, you know what I'm saying, but go to the point where, like, oh, I want to hear this man's music. Like, you can't believe that curiosity wouldn't play a toll in this. And at the same time, with most streaming services, they're not going to show you his B-sides. They're not going to show you anything that isn't chart topping. So of course you go onto your iTunes Music, you know what I'm saying, for those that, you know, are into the Google Play, and, you know what I'm saying, they show you the essentials list and what to listen for. Well, fucking, you're gonna hear all his best shit. You're gonna hear the thing that got him, you know what I'm saying, the praise and adoration that allows him to be the beast of a man that he is. So it's such a catch-22. It's almost hilarious if it wasn't so fucked up. And I can't lie though, because I went back, you know what I'm saying, because again, being an R&B head, I'm like, what the fuck, what hits does he have outside of Bump and Grind? Which, by the way, in 2014, a group called Wade and Odyssey made Bump and Grind 2014, and if you YouTube the video, it is so hilarious. Now mind you, you're gonna contribute to a click on YouTube, so that definitely will be a whole lot less putting money in R. Kelly's pocket than it would be going onto Google Play or to Apple Music or whatever your streaming service of choice is. But do yourself the favor and take a look at the music video, because that song, again, done at least 4 years ago, going on 5, maybe more, depending on how long it took for them to get the rights to publish it, is not only very dangerously catchy, but at the same time, it's taking little parts in lyrics, which I'm going to get into a little bit further in a second, of what the song is entitling and what he's kind of admitting to. Mind you, this is, I think, before or after the era of marrying little Miss Aaliyah, you know what I'm saying, to maybe stay away from a fucking charge. Who knows? And now it makes you wonder, like, was she killed on some other stuff? Who knows? You know, obviously you can't plan for things, but who knows? And conspiracies. But yo, check out the music video. Anyways, and there's a line, a very specific line in the song that makes you wonder, niggas, is this a confession? When he goes, my mind is telling me no, which is your conscience. You know what I'm saying? The fabric of your being. But your body is saying, yeah, motherfucker, that's of the flesh. You who, you know what I'm saying, supposedly know Jesus, know how dangerous the flesh is. Now, mind you, when I think of Rkelly now, I don't think of Bump and Grind Rkelly. I don't think of fucking Ignition Remix, which I know there was a big hit song, and then when I played it, my oldest, who's only 8 years old, very simple but beautiful soul, was singing that shit. I'm like, you have no idea what this man has done, but or what I've done for putting this out there, and for him to ingest. But there was a record, this is the last record I ever bought of this man. The last time I even heard of him making music, to be honest with you, and it was in 2010. It was an album called Love Letter. It had the title song Love Letter, which was so beautiful, so catchy, such an homage to Motown era music. And mind you, there's definitely was fuckery happening back in those days too. Don't get it twisted. Definite pimping going on there. And then another song, track 3, number 1 hit, which again, it says a lot in the lyrics and all that, y'all differentiate into that. But I didn't realize this man had been making music every 2 years. Matter of fact, I totally forgot. Back in 2015, he had an album called The Buffet. And in this buffet, he sings this song called Poem that I don't want to play, and I accidentally clicked a little bit over here in the back. But he goes on into reading a poem I would like to read. And I may sound asinine, but these are his words. Alright? Good evening, ladies. Shall we start with hors d'oeuvres? I can tell your body's been lacking the platter of satisfaction your body deserves. We have reservations, and I'm so glad that we here. 'Cause I'll be tossing your juices all night like cheers. See, you need someone who understands you have a delicate palate. Let me cater to you while indulging in my own bad eating habits. It's a celebration, and you're the cream of the crop. Young bitch. Let me, and then he slurps, and I can promise I won't leave a drop. But wait, this is just the appetizer. By the time I reach dessert, a climax couldn't get no higher. A leg couldn't shake no harder. We going at it so crazy. I love this love so tasty. I'm talking my jelly and your pastry. See, baby, I got every need, every want, every craving you seek. I'll be going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until lemons taste sweet. This is all you can eat, from steak to sorbet. Welcome to the buffet. That is so dastardly, and I know it sounded really ridiculous, but that was called The Poem, and me being a poet of sorts, I really found that shit, man, hilarious. But going back on top of it, because unfortunately he does have a few bangers, one with Mr. Ty Dolla $ign called Anything Goes, which is so telling because he says, I'm so rich, anything goes. It's crazy. Another track that was a hit was called Marching Band. Ooh, better stop that. And Marching Band is featuring Mr. Juicy J. And what tripped me the fuck out, because in this song, he's in there just saying, you know what I'm saying, just some ballerific things. You know what I'm saying, booty bumping like bum 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 bum. But I laughed because Juicy J's verse was kind of telling. Mind you, there's a lot of, you know, innuendo and whatnot. Of course, you're gonna see that. But I laugh at Juicy J's ass because usually when you listen for Juicy J, you're listening for something to laugh at, especially when he opens up by saying she like it on her chin like a violin. Anyways, he says dancing like a Margaret, and I think those are little girl dancers. Definitely, he mentions being able to beat it like a drum, sound like we had a jamboree. Now, jamboree, although is a definition for celebration, it's also a gathering of Boy Scouts and little Girl Scouts. So I mean, again, I'm not saying that was implanted and this is some Illuminati giving you the the reveals and they admitting to having such public knowledge, but it's in there. Yo, it's so in there. You look at the lyrics and how can you deny it? You know what I'm saying? And but again, curiosity, you know what I'm saying, fluckered the tits of quite many a folk to want to listen to this shit. And you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, that was one of those contributing factors, but I didn't look into the music until you tell me a lot of other people were listening to this music, and I was thought to myself, oh yeah, this motherfucker makes music. I would have almost totally forgot because the only time you ever hear about him is when he's making apologies. You know what I'm saying? Or, getting, caught up on something. But speaking, though, of apologies, another thing that tripped me out, because it was happening back to back to back to back, and I'm at work, and only the few moments that I have of relief, I'm looking at the news, constantly refreshing, constantly just seeing what's going on out there, trying to read, if not trying to save a story for later on, which normally that's what you get to hear now. And a Chance the Rapper, some other folks, Lady Gaga, they were all on Twitter sending out apologies for working with Mr. Pod Piper. And the thing that tripped me out the most is that there was a song, and I forget whether we talked about it last week, and I don't think so, but when I mentioned about some of the collaborators, he had a song with Lady Gaga called fuck, I'm already forgetting the name, like Do What You Want to My Body. And in the song, it was totally about being submissive. And what tripped me out even more about how submissive the song was is that you take an idol, because each of these idols represent a certain demographic, usually, right? If not, they have a wider net of powers. But usually each person carries their own demographic. And imagine if you have a way to relay a message to them and to, influence them, that seed, that little bit of mustard seed, who knows what that shit can turn into. And with that, legions of fans and adorers and those that might comply. And mind you, this could have just been a catchy song. We know that she's very taboo and she's very tongue-in-cheek with the things that she says. But knowing that she's saying that she's so heartbroken and mind-fucked that her body is up there for the taking. And mind you, she's been through abuse and she's been through this stuff, so maybe that also definitely ties into how easy it is for you to fall back into, if not calling it a pattern, then just series of unfortunate events. You know what I'm saying? You're much more prone, unfortunately. Those who get abused will probably get abused again. And it's almost like they wear a scarlet letter that only the most dastardly and the most vicious of motherfuckers can see, view, comprehend, and then execute, depending on their will, of course. And man, I'm reading some of the lyrics, like, you can't have my heart and you won't use my mind, but do what you want to my body. And then, of course, in his Papa's dance coming in just super happy because this is what I do. There was a very cringe-worthy music video that had him playing a doctor. And I guess this is when she had a sprained leg or some kind of ligament or some shit that was fucked up. And she was worried if she was going to have to go and dance again. And so she kind of makes like a homage to that song or to that whatever. And he's like, well, you will be walking, but you might wake up pregnant. And I'm like, holy shit. Which, of course, just flipping into the future, not too recently, in Arizona, the Hacienda Heights, which harbor, I don't know if it was just mostly Indian folk, but it's just a healthcare hospice, I think. And there's a lady who's in a vegetative state, has been 14 years, and they're pregnant. So it's just very topical, and it's so crazy when you see these things gonna come back in the flesh. And mind you, very dirty song. I'm sure she had to realize how fucked up it was, because even years afterwards, when it came to promoting the song, she quickly took down the video, which again was super creepy. I'm mentioning that little doctor skit was from the actual music video. I'm pretty sure you could still dig it up somewhere. It's not on the YouTube's, definitely not on her main page, because one of the things in her apologies was, and again, this definitely gave people the ability to get to enjoy it for a little bit, to see, you know, the jump that it made into the streaming services. She apparently was making an announcement saying that she's working with Apple to try to pull it down. She sure should get it pulled down, because I couldn't find it on Apple. But again, everything lives on in infamy on the internet. So do yourself maybe a service or disservice and check that out, just because of how crazy, how ridiculous it was. Just how, can't believe this, you know, this shit flew. And eventually she replaced him with Kelly Clarkson, and I'm not too sure if that was just because she had made a voice appearance and figured why not, you know what I'm saying, let's get a better version and get her out of having to you know, tour with this motherfucker. Mind you, this was, I think it was 2010 too, possibly. It was whenever Art Pop came out. It was on the album Art Pop, if that helps y'all at all. Y'all can do Googles, acting like y'all don't do some Googles around here. And another thing that had upset me, because I'm a fan of their music, and when I saw the craze of people again having to apologize, which man, like, it's like, what if this, you're busy with some other stuff and you just didn't happen to be paying attention to this, realizing that it was a thing, and then you didn't end up doing it, and then you bit the bullet because, you know, hey, you didn't apologize when the rest of these motherfuckers were trend-settingly apologizing with really just a fad. You know what I'm saying? People just wanting to carry the wave with apologies. Anyways, the group I was trying to mention was called The Phoenix. They're a French quintuplet band, whatever it is, when there's 4 people, and definitely has some really catchy pop hits. They're just, you know what I'm saying, they're, you know what I'm saying, from when I was just a white teen and tween and wanting to dance around to indie shit that I feel like no one ever heard of. And I mean, obviously they're big overseas, and I'm pretty sure they got fans out here too. And most definitely because they did a performance with Rkelly and Coachella, which is fucking weird. Rkelly has had a lot of weird collaborations that I could only applaud in both curiosity and the sheer haterisms of, damn, you got to work with them? Really? Why? Why the fuck do they want to work with you? Anyways, so again, I'm hating. But yeah, people had to give these apologies, and I'm like, you guys are... I hope that it's sincere. I hope it's not just then bandwagon and fucking cocksucking wanting to maybe get a little bit of like. Because think about it, when you see these tragedies, especially with the steamroll of attention that these things get, and the way that people get lost in the YouTubes, and you look, you know, you're looking at one thing and get thrown into a whole nother sphere, whole nother intellectual dimension. Like, it happens, and I think people, they want that to happen, and hell, that could be a way that I'm contributing and having you get lost in the sauce. I mean, come on now, you take everything with a grain of salt, you know what I'm saying, unless you're diabetic. Someone else who was on the, you know, apology freak train was Peter Farley. And this tripped me out because he recently, I didn't know that he won Best Picture for music. I didn't think it was called a musical, even though there's some music in it, and definitely it's more serious, but he's definitely into comedy. And Best Picture, musical or comedy at the 2019 Golden Globes, Peter Farley, who, mind you, did movies like Something About Mary and The Ringer, and he's definitely a goofball, and coincidentally has a strong connections with the Special Olympics and people of those that, you know what I'm saying, are, you know, I know the proper word isn't handicapped, but those, you know, that are quote unquote disabled, or I don't know what the most PC word for those survivors, I don't, you know what I'm talking about. He has heavy bevy into that life, and you know, he jokes around. He's mostly done comedies. Like, he literally just did, I'm sorry, not even mentioning how the fuck he won the 2019 at the Golden Globes, but it was a movie called Green Book, the one that movie I still haven't got to see, that I got flusterfucked because it was only in select theaters to watch something else because it was totally sold out. Anyways, great movie. I'm gonna get that motherfucker on DVD, Blu-ray. Come on now, digital copy. He mentioned and apologized for flashing Cameron Diaz his dick, and many more stars which weren't mentioned in the article, but at least I think Cameron Diaz was cool enough to rock with it. That's probably why they mentioned her. And this story came from E! News. I'm not going to read the article, but he just had to form an apology back in '98 when he was filming Something About Mary. He was just showing his dick, and mind you, we look at Louis C.K., and definitely badge him. And mind you, he was masturbating. That's a whole nother thing from you just, you know, being shameless. You know what I'm saying? Shameless enough to, you know, saying let your dick swing around. That's two different things. Mind you, they're both uninvited and uncalled for and disgusting, but one is with more malicious intent than the other. Can we not admit? I don't know. That's one aspect that could, fight against him, but it seems like Peter Farley really wasn't catching any heat. And when they go to Cameron Diaz for a comment, they're like, yeah, he was super silly. I knew exactly what I was getting into when the very first dinner date that we go to talking about this movie, again, Costing About Mary, which if you haven't seen with Ben Stiller is very hilarious, very of the time, which can be seen as corny, can be seen as whatever, but definitely is what made her more notoriety since The fucking Mask with Jim Carrey. But regardless, someone who had her time and definitely understands her roots of things. And it's funny because the picture that he uses is a very handsy Peter Farley, like all up on this bitch's waist. Imagine she has no ass at all, so he's just hugging up on it, pressing up on it, Lord knows who's what. But definitely feeling good and just was being himself, and he apologizes. And mind you, we do a lot of dumb things growing up. We do a lot of things, that wasn't cool back in the day. In the day and age that now. So it is what's scary and what's fucked up when people dig. Because again, you dig deep enough, you're going to find whatever the fuck you want to find. And it's unfortunate for those things to come out into light. But I'm glad that it didn't seem like he got sunk down in this. And at the same time, I believe, especially with the more serious nature of directing he's gone towards, and the reason that you don't hear about him doing dumb shit like that now is probably because he probably doesn't do that dumb shit now. And that should be accounted for, most definitely, because we see people who has done dirty shit in the past, and the fact that they keep doing this, well then look, we have history, we have paper trails, and we have clear evidence. So what I'm saying, call a square a square. But yeah, that's gonna be it for entertainment news, because it's again not so entertaining, because now it just makes you feel like, oh man, we're all pieces of shit. Like truly, the Bible quite often referenced us being lower than, a goddamn tampon. I'm not even fucking with you. There was those aren't the exact words. I think they call it whatever, a woman's time or time of discharge, whatever, a dirty rag, I think is what they call it. I mean, there's so many ways. You know what a damn Kotex is and what it does, how nasty that is after it's used. We are lower than that. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why what part of the Old Testament was it where Lot and Abraham had a dip? Or was it Lot in the Sodom and Gomorrah? We're like, we're going to blow this bitch up. We sent 2 angels. Everyone's trying to fuck them. We're going to just blow this bitch. And, it took one person to be like, no, what if I find, 20 people? And, God having to raise up, man, I'll raise, if you could find 10. And then him, I guess, thinking to himself, fuck, I don't know, 10 people. All right, I'll do it if you just find 4 or 5. Like, and literally all he could do was get his family and get the hell out of there before it went on into the, to the shits with explosions and, definitely some hell or high water. That's entertainment news, y'all. I did want to take a quick little step into some science and technology, sort of ish. Really quickly, a quick headline that we talked about before, that Chinese scientists who created the CRISPR babies, the CRISPR babies who are like genetically like perfected to where like they don't have any sort of I don't know if they're perfectly immune to HIV, but they're definitely made some stuff to where it might almost, I don't know, there's so many different stories of it being unethical, which again, besides making someone perfect and the rest of us anti that, I don't see. But I guess the fact of maybe how it can affect the medicines that we do give out to try to keep a clutch on everybody. Again, I think there's a lot of omission to what's more deeply underlying, but this motherfucker can actually face a death penalty apparently in this country over this, and there might have been some other taboo things that went on in researching this, but this is a man who again made a whole lot of money from, I forget what it was that he got his money, but he definitely had a whole lot of money that he was able to kind of fund this processes and again perfect something that could be used for so much good. But again, at the same time, can you imagine us? We've seen so many movies back in the day of them making super soldiers, but could you imagine that actually being the case? And could you imagine using that kind of formation and somehow mixing it with AI? The sky is definitely no limit, unless you're an earther. That was crazy. And another thing that was mad crazy was that there was we've talked about on the shows here about the black holes, things coming around it, the Oumuamuas, the other planets all around. But most recently there was some mysterious signals that had been picked up from distant galaxies. And again, mind you, we get so happy just to get these signals and these frequencies that again are probably way too high end for us to ever understand, but the fact that we can at least see the needle move is quite a big deal. And when these fast radio bursts, or what they call FRBs, I guess that's fast radio bursts, as they're called, once they reach Earth's telescope, they shine brightly for a few milliseconds and then disappear. Now, astronomers have detected dozens over the past decade and have just announced again more of them, including a rare repeating signal. Nigga, if that ain't SOS, I don't know what's up. So shouts out to the BBC article that I'm taking a look at right now. And again, they're saying that it's a rapidly spinning neutron star. Now, when stars explode and die, they can end up as, rapidly spinning neutron stars. And astronomers think that those found in a region with high magnetic fields might produce, the strange signals. Now, I'm reading a quote here that says something like a neutron star fits the bill reasonably well, and just some stupid banner for this, but they're saying that what physics is going into producing this very energetic burst of radio waves, we don't really know yet. So again, that's telling you like we could see it, we can hear that something's going on, but we can't interpret or know what the hell it is. Another thing is that they're saying that it might be two stars merging, so two neutron stars colliding with each other is an easy possibility, or another possibility, and according to this, it would then result in a cataclysmic event. So again, that doesn't work for fast radio bursts or it repeating itself, but something, had to have been cause a little blitz of shit, which goes into the next one, which is a blitzar. And I bet apparently a blitzar is a rapidly spinning neutron star which collapses under its own weight and forms a black hole. So again, if this shit concaves in, and mind you, the whole universe is spanned with dark matter and antimatter and way more anti than there is the opposite, and could you imagine? So again, this ends the destruction of stars and could produce their repeating signal, and who knows what else it could suck in. And we've seen some of these things. I don't know if they just can combine. I'm not sure if they. Another thing is a black hole. So black holes are implicated in many theories. So one being like a neutron star falling into a black hole and collapsing into a black hole, and then dark matter hitting one and just a fucking clusterfuck of a shitstorm. Or an anti-shitstorm. Either which way, some shit's going through a hole. Last theory of this is possible alien life forms. Now, while some believe that signals are entirely natural in origin, others have speculated that there could have, evidence of extraterrestrial activities. Now, they come from all over the sky pretty much in many different distances, but much are associated with many different galaxies. And really, and I hate to use that phrase again about the sky being a limit, but there's just an endless limit of possibilities and what that could be. And again, as we, try to scare you with each week, with new sightings and new reports of this stuff, we have no idea what there is. We have no idea what's maybe already here or maybe not. The things you don't know, and in which you don't know, I feel is the most scurriest, is it not? This pause-breaking slight panic attack where worse words out of my mouth has been brought to you in part by marijuana. Boy, do I really indulge in marijuana. So this next segment is going to be a bit of health, a little bit of speed round / quick takes on a lot of stuff that just squeezed out. Don't really have much to say, but I'm going to give it to you. New York is currently battling the worst measles outbreak, and I don't know why I thought we had that shit like in a Corbla Kutch, and I'm not too sure how something like that is an outbreak and how we can contain it, and then how they work so speedily on it, with things costing as much and such, but there's been similar things where shit comes out and, all you can really do is, refund or, hey, we'll treat the AIDS. If we gave you AIDS, we're going to treat the AIDS. In similar fashion, chocolate caramel candies that are made in Kentucky apparently were contaminated with hepatitis A, according to the FDA. And that trips me out because I'm wondering what kind of contamination has to happen when you get a bit of the hepatitis. And then I'm not too sure exactly which one's worse or what it does. And I guess y'all can do your Googles. But still, you know what I'm saying? You hear about people pissing in the catalogs and then having such and such. What does motherfucker do to bleed into to give us hepatitis A? I don't know. I'm a bit confused by it. Like with this teacher who dragged this little boy with autism, and I guess you can't really see in the video if his extra Y chromosomes are that obvious. But this woman apparently just had it up to here with this kid and dragged his ass down this hallway. And again, she was yelling at him apparently in the video, which you can see in the links here below somewhere, of him yelling, or not her, not yelling, but her saying, "You don't want to walk, then you won't walk." So it was something of him not listening. And please believe, my baby, who's approaching 2 years old, pretty soon, he when he sets his mind to fuck you, it's pretty much on fuck you until you put a titty in his mouth or can satisfy him some other switch way. And so I can imagine how tough of a bastard he's going to be. Well, hopefully he's not a bastard, because I hope to be around his life and still continue to be alive, to see how much of a motherfucker he's going to be when he gets older. And again, this kid, maybe 5 to 8 years old, he seemed pretty little for this old lady to be able to drag him the way that she was. And I feel so bad that I know teachers had to be well aware of this behavioral health issues and mental health issues, and not only them self-diagnosing and self-caring, but just the fact that little shits are going to be little shits. Like, I wonder what her tipping point was that said, fuck it, I'm going to do this. Like, you have to be beyond the point of no return to be so drastic. Because you see fuck shit happen every day with little kids, unfortunately. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying little kids are little shits, and I'm not trying to say nothing bad. I'm trying to say things can be very hectic, and there can be many room for opportunity with the diversity that you meet. But again, I'm wondering what the fuck, what really went down, and what her deal is. I think that's more or less what I'm more or less interested in. Well, besides how it happened, but what's been going on with you? What is wrong with you? Same thing with there's a civil rights award that apparently was rescinded from Miss Angela Davis, which I don't know why I made me think of. I don't know if it's Angela Bassett or if there's Angela Davis is an actual actress. I don't know why I made me think of that. Regardless, it was incorrect. And apparently there was a Jewish community who had objections with some of her Twitter finger tweets of being pro-Palestinian. So apparently the civil rights awards, and I forget the name of the things. I just put myself some little notes to the links that you could always read, and of course do your Googles on whatever trust shit that I'm going to give you on its own. Do some digging, you know what I'm saying? Dumpster digging. Hopefully you make a whole lot of money. You can send me a little something on patreon.com/opapo. But besides all that, because of course there's I don't know when the first recorded bit of history was, but whatever that first bit of history, and we could even call it back to the Bible, Israel versus Palestine, and anyone else to and from between, which, man, Israel is just both blessed and fucked to be in this crevice of so many worlds having to come in this port authority, as you will, where they really edge their dick into history. But again, y'all could do your Bibles if you want to, pick a sides on that, whatnot. But that has been going on since forever. So the fact that because she happened to have some sympathy, and mind you, we're not in the trenches in that thing. I'm pretty sure Miss Angela Davis is an African American woman. I'm pretty sure she's aware of history, but at the same time didn't have to deal with family, speaking thousands and thousands of years of bad blood. Upon this other creed that all you see is them getting shit on. So why wouldn't you feel bad for the one that you see as the victim or whatnot? So again, that's a little bit of food for thought. But the fact that they rescinded her award, and I forget exactly what she did to get that award, but Yeah, do your Googles. Do some research. This one lady who apparently did too much research, though. Well, not even too much research, she just had a little bit too much contact. She was, and this actually happened down here in Arizona. She was very obsessed, you could say, with some dude who dicked her down on some kind of dating site. Didn't give any props to, I don't know, what is it, Grindr, Tinder, Bumble, Fuck Me Now, Craigslist Later. I don't know exactly what the new latest trend is, and it doesn't really go into it. But when you take a look at this broad, and if I could find her name, I'm definitely gonna shout her out because she just looks crazy. Like, you could tell that she likes to get fucked stupid, and she might even get possessed. And that's exactly what happened. Her name was Jacqueline Ades, Ades, Alpha Delta Echo Sierra. Jacqueline Ades, or Ades, or I don't know. ADES. That's pretty much how you spell it, right? Anyway, she sent this dude over 159,000 text messages where, of course, I'm pretty sure she was pleading and sexting, but also threatening over a course of just 10 months. And apparently she had, I guess, went up to some Paradise Valley officers who like literally had to escort her out the property, and she like swung up on one of these motherfuckers. And apparently she got to the point to where she would be not only obsessed and wanting and clinging for, but then getting to where she was quoted saying, "I'd make sushi out of your kidneys and chopsticks out of your headband bones." Like, she really, thought some shit through. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you could make such and such with these things. But again, when you look at her picture, though, like, there's just something about it that I also find captivating. Because I'm like, damn, that is a woman. That is an empty vessel. And she's just looking to clinch on to. And at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, man, this motherfucker must have gave her a good dickin'. If she's not that, let's say I'm totally judging a book by its cover, and that's not the case at all. She, is full of spirit, and and was of sound mind, body, and soul before interacting with this Lucifer, who gave her the dicking of her life that maybe just changed her and made her see the light, and that's why now you can't really see the light in her eyes, because she's just, she's sprung, and like T-Pain saying, she out to get me. I don't know if he said that in the songs or not, but there was another crazy story of this weatherman in New York. I'm not sure if it was Manhattan or how the cities get broken down into, but apparently, and I laugh so much because in these articles that I read, they always refer to him as a meteorologist. Well, he's a basic ass weatherman. Don't try to beef up his slogan because he's a fellow white. But apparently, when referencing this park called the Martin Luther King Jr. Park, he apparently flubbed by accident because he had so much words and so much knowledge to give that he called it the Martin Luther King Jr. Park during a news segment. And I didn't bother watching this public apology that he was giving with his wife by his side. You could tell on the home computer, wherever it is that he probably jacks off to some kind of super obtuse kind of porn. It's just saying that he gives so much information that just would have slipped out. That seems almost well precisely tuned. And it's funny because the CBS article that I was looking into even quotes another weather news anchor person that said it in the same similar fashion. Because you're able to get the whole Martin Luther out before you hit him with the king. You call him a coon king. Like, just to let it be known, like, yeah, that's his name, but I'm not calling him such and such after me. Which I just feel is pretty goddamn racist. And if that is not the world that we see nowadays, I mean, then you just might not be seeing. You may not be paying attention. There's so much that I've missed that I wish I could have captured. At the same time, that kind of goes over the head. We're not meant for everything, but we're meant for something. And I hope, as I ramble on and try to bow out gracefully, that you truly do take that, see that, be that, do that, and hopefully get to live in that for as long as, you're blessed to live. And every day's a new day. You know what I'm saying? Our revelations can come at any moment. I recently actually went to the Earl Cup day just before this. Totally not planned because I had no idea. As much as I am a figure of the culture, I had no idea that she was popping off if it wasn't for former co-worker turned personal favorite barber turned just a podhead brother in the spirit, because you know what I'm saying, he goes by Jesus, and he put me on game, and I just gotta taste it just for a little bit, just to kind of see the events and the shenanigans that happen. Motherfucker, I want to go next year and make some money. Like, I'm thinking, I'm bringing the goddamn yard sale to these one of these weed event things where it's a bunch of other vendors, companies, you know, giving taste tests of things, really just getting you to like the name, to remember them, so that hopefully, you know, when you're out there shopping, that you remember them, you think of them, and you know, have a reason to come back into the store. Great move, especially since I know my renewal is coming up soon, and that motherfucker, I think, is over $300. I hope to get it cheaper. I don't know how that's possible. If y'all got to connect, y'all let me know. But I'm trying to go about things the legal way. And yeah, again, it was something that was free to the public. Of course, they try to get the sales in while they can. It's crazy. So many people of the culture. You could definitely just, you know, see stoneheads and stuff. And then you really do see people who, you know, they can't walk, or just have terrible anorexia, or, you know, you name it. You know, they're super sickly. I got to meet some cool old ass vets. I wish I would have been more better prepared, so that I could have made a soap opera sessions out of it. That would have been the perfect place to do a soap opera sessions. And now knowing that it's not contaminated with copyrighted music all over the place, I might be able to do that. And I might have met some people that I might actually just have in future episodes of Soap Opera Sessions. I don't know. You have to stay tuned. And with that being said, I do want to thank you guys so much for listening, for being a part of it, for just hearing me ramble, hopefully not alerting the authorities. I don't know doing what, praying for me. I will take it all and hope that it's nothing but goodness, as I do hope and pray that y'all have goodness sprinkled upon y'all. Like, I truly mean that. I'm not even trying to sound redundant or ridiculous or ludicrous or some other early 2000s rapper that no longer is existence. One thing I will say, again, for those that are here for the Arizona Soul Podcast, know that you can always reach us via email, if y'all wanted to, at arizonasoulpodcast@gmail.com. Main website, of course, is arizonasoulpodcast.com. I'm not too sure if all the YouTubes and whatnots follow the same allege. I know if you're adding at anything, it should be Arizona Soul Pod, so just a POD, didn't get the cast in there. And of course, if ever you wanted to kind of drop a line, talk some shit, give some praise, just leave a voicemail of just whatever you feel so enticed to do, know that you can call Arizona phone number of area code 480-588-4688. Again, that's 480-588-4688. I am your host, Papo, which of course you can always find on most social medias at Papo. So that's SOULPAPO. Of course, as always, if ever you want to become a producer of the show, then you can go to www.patreon.com/SoulPapo. Again, that's SOULPAPO. Help me keep the lights on, get some better internets, whatever. But reach out, connect. Hopefully don't lose sight of where it is the crosshairs lie. Well, hopefully not be lying, but continue ever forward. And God bless y'all. I came.